disappointment evident across San Fran.
I'm trying to look at the big picture of what we're trying to do, what our team goals are. But at the same time, man, I have to look myself in the mirror and ask myself why or how that happened and why I made those decisions. And so our team came ready to play. And, for me to make some decisions like that, it pains me, and it's not fair to these guys. So I have to realize that and understand that, and I have to get better for my team.
We got the dub. I really don't care about the performance. I just wanted to win, and that's what happened tonight. On Christmas, that was my gift.
That was his gift. Sorry he couldn't wrap it. Hey, when Lamar and Baltimore get a lead, the game's a wrap. The Ravens have led 72% of their total time on field this season. That's on track to be the fourth highest since the 1970 merger. After, speaking of 72%, the 72 Dolphins, 2016 Patriots, and 99 Rams. In very related news, all three of those won the Super Bowl. Marcus Spears, this Ravens defense, 5 picks against the 49ers, 4 off Brock Purdy, who had been very trustworthy with the football. What did you make of this defensive performance for Baltimore?
First, I want to acknowledge that aggressive wave that Harbaugh had telling Lamar to come get the game ball. That's how we had to do you today, Phil Murphy, to get a host for the show, man. Welcome to the NFL Live lair, brother. It was a phenomenal performance by this defense. And I know Lamar Jackson is a lightning rod. I love to talk about him just as much as anybody else. But defensively, when they have a performance like this, you have to lead with that because to the tune of 5 total turnovers. But for me, it was about Baltimore understanding who San Francisco is and who Brock Purdy is. We've talked all season long about anticipation. We've talked all season long about how Kyle Shanahan likes to motion and open up windows within a defense. This was a perfect situation for Kyle Hamilton. He actually baited this throw. This is a throw that Brock Purdy has made time and time again this season, but he to the sideline like he was going to open up that window, and Brock Purdy, with his anticipation, thought all season long, this is a no-brainer. I'm about to put the ball exactly where I put it all season long, and my guy's going to make a play. So it came along with what Baltimore did, and that's why I gave Mike McDaniel, the defense coordinator, a lot of credit for having this team prepared. And they also didn't play scared, MK. They forced the issue, and very rarely do we see a defense do that against San Francisco, but Baltimore was able to do so.
The bullies got bullied. Some of that is, I think, purely about the physicality that Baltimore played with, the tackling, the dominance at the line of scrimmage. But some of it is also about scheme, and it built on something we've been talking about all season long, which is Baltimore's use of these sim pressures on the line of scrimmage. I thought one play that really captured how effective that was and the problems it caused for Brock Purdy was the second Kyle Hamilton pick. There's multiples, right? So as you see here, you got 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. 2 linebackers drop out, so when Brock lurks to his right, they're in coverage. By the time he goes back to the left, it's too late. He's bailing. Christian McCaffrey, who's usually his outlet, had to stay in to defend Kyle Hamilton, who, by the way, recovers to make the pick after Purdy panics, throws across his body. This, to me, is such an excellent example of why this Ravens defense matches up well with San Francisco, why they gave Brock Purdy fits all night, why they gave this offensive line. You got 4 guys blocking 2 on the right side, problems. It was simply that they caused so much confusion up front that on multiple plays, the Niners offense was taken aback in a way that we have not seen thus far this season, Marcus.
Well, I want to welcome Dan Orlovsky to our – Go ahead, Marcus, go ahead. Go ahead, Marcus. I want to hear what you have.
I just wanted to reiterate something Mina said about the matchup, right? We've seen San Francisco be so dominant, and eventually the players and the playmakers take over games. The Ravens actually had an answer for it on defense and offense, and we was talking about it all week of how would they use Kyle Hamilton, how would they use pressure, how important would Roquan and Patrick Queen be to trying to handle an offense that we've seen just absolutely obliterate people. And it came down to those players and their ability in space to tackle being a big deal in this football game, as you saw throughout. Hey, Dan.
Welcome to our huddle, Dan Orlovsky.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Dan, we heard John Harbaugh calling for Lamar to be MVP after this win. He now was the shortest odds according to ESPN Bet. What is it that made Lamar so special last night in particular?
Yeah, he makes something out of nothing more consistently than any quarterback in football. Merry Christmas to you guys. Great to see everybody. Phil, what's up, man? Lamar snatched MVP last night. You know, it was in his MVP moment, so to speak, this year. There were so many examples, and I think that's why. Listen, I love talking about the MVP. And this year, it's more about than just the numbers. You have to watch the games. And you have to see the impact that he has on the games. There are, on a weekly basis, 7, 8, 9 plays that in any other instance, that play is a negative 6, 7, or 8 yard loss. And instead, it's a 4, 5, 15, 20 yard gain. That's the definition this year for me of MVP. And I think that's the reason why it stood out. And the last thing I'd say this, Phil, in relation to the defense, because me surprised how this game went. I did not think that there was a defense in football that could do that to San Francisco's offense. I heard Mina and Marcus talking to two things that I thought were important to point out. Number one, they to the field, Baltimore defensively played what we call like a hard corner. They made sure that the field was not a run point for San Francisco. And then the second thing was, Kyle Shanahan has done a great job of providing clarity for Brock Purdy, pre and post snap, and he has been a very clear player.
Well, Dan, to that point, no team since the merger 1970 has led the NFL in scoring defense, sacks, and takeaways in the same season. Baltimore is on pace to do that with just 2 games left. Time now for our top stories. NFL insider Dan Graziano joins us. Dan, the 49ers left that game with a couple injuries on offense. What can you tell us about the health of quarterback Brock Purdy and left tackle Trent Williams?
Yeah, they said Brock Purdy had a stinger. One of the things Kyle Shanahan said was one of the reasons he didn't want to put him back in the game because so many injuries along the offensive line that had cropped up during the game. And that Trent Williams one, potentially significant. He has a groin injury. Too soon to know yet whether that will cost him time. He was upbeat and positive talking about it after the game, but we'll see how that works its way out through the week. Could be a significant absence for them if he has to miss time.